We are live. As promised, we said we were going to go live and we were going to take some of the topics you sent in last week. And we were going to cover some of those topics for our Norwegian, American, international students that are thinking about coming to ACN. I'm just going to give this a few minutes or a few seconds for more people to join because we just pressed live and we want to make sure that lots of people join the Instagram live session today. But what I want to do is quick introduce who we are in this Instagram live feed. So my name is Nick. I am the Marketing Activities Coordinator at American College of Norway. I work directly with the students to create an inviting and exciting on-campus experience for them. I also do the social media marketing and everything you see on the internet. And then I also have...
Hi, I'm Becky Nordvang. I'm the Associate Director of Advising and Recruitment at ACN. I've been working at ACN for 8 years and have worked closely with hundreds of our students as they get ready to transition from the US to ACN or from ACN to American universities in the United States. So I look forward to working with all of you when you join us here at ACN. And we also have...
Hi, I'm Dr. Tammy Carmichael. I'm from the University of North Dakota and I manage the partnership between the University of North Dakota and American College of Norway. And I've worked with American College of Norway for over a decade now. I teach courses here and this semester I'm teaching a travel course. We leave tomorrow for Ireland, so I'm here to answer questions about opportunities for travel and gaining course credit for that here at ACN.
I see a lot of people have joined us. What we wanted to do today was literally just talk about the topics that you sent in. We wanted a little bit more of a structured Instagram live because I would love for you guys to really get these topics that you sent in answered clearly. And we have 4 specific topics we're going to talk about today. And all the topics are catered towards Norwegian, American, and international students. So the Instagram Live really is for our whole student body population because contrary to our name, the American College of Norway, we have students from all over Norway, all over America. Additionally, we have students from all around the world. We have students from South Korea, we have students from India, we have students from many other countries. So we are a very international bunch at ACN. So the topics will be kind of talked about thinking in reference to these groups so that way you guys all are getting your questions answered. So the first thing we're going to talk about today are some of the benefits of coming to ACN. So benefits for Norwegian students, benefits for American and international students. So I'm going to let Becky first talk about the benefits of ACN for our student populations.
Okay, we'll break this down into 2 groups. We'll break this down into our Norwegian students and we'll break this down into our international students. So some of the benefits of coming to ACN as a Norwegian student is that the US is really, really big. Norway has about, I think, 26 official state universities and colleges. That's really easy for everyone to get an idea of what's available. The US has almost 5,000 universities, so that can be really hard to navigate on your own. So one of the big benefits of coming to ACN for our Norwegian students who want to take an entire degree in the US is that here you have an entire year to get 1 year of your bachelor's completed, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But you have 1 year of personal advising, 1 year of us working together to try to find, of those 5,000 universities, what are maybe 5 to 10 that are a good match for each student. And we'll talk about this as a personal match, as an economic match. How much are we willing to pay for it? And we'll talk about scholarships later. And also, what kind of US do you want to experience and what's a good academic fit for you of those 5,000 schools so that when you're ready to apply, you've made a good choice on what schools to apply for. We also have the benefit of, we hear from our Norwegians that a lot of them don't feel like they're ready to go into an academic program because they don't think their English is good enough, which is really strange for us Americans to hear because we think our Norwegian students are so excellent at Norwegian. But this is 1 year for you to still be living in Norway. When you're outside of the class, you're still going to the store, you're still speaking Norwegian out at home. But in the class, everything is in English, sorry, not Norwegian. The working language here on campus is English, so you have it's a nice transition and to build up some confidence to work on your your written communication skills and your verbal communication skills. Also, for Norwegians, this is a great way to save you some money. 1 year at the American College of Norway is considerably less expensive than 1 year at most universities in the United States. So this is a good way for you to start your education, save a little bit of money, do a nice transition from the Norwegian system into the American, get all that help you need with the application process and the visa processes and those things. So lots of benefits for our Norwegians for starting their educations here. So then we have benefits for our international students. I came to Norway, Nick came to Norway as students originally, and both of us went to a Norwegian institution. We had wonderful experiences and met 0 Norwegians. We were with the international students. And that's what a lot of campuses on Norwegian schools do, because they don't have a lot of coursework offered in English. And so if you come as an undergraduate student, you're going to be put into classes with other international students that are English language courses. And that means it's really hard to get to know Norwegians. Well, our campus is about 90% Norwegian students, 10% international. That varies a little bit, but we have the majority are Norwegians. So you can't not meet Norwegians at the American College. And we say it's kind of ironic to come to the American College of Norway to experience Norway, but this is a really good way of integrating into the Norwegian culture. Going to your Norwegian friend's cabin for Christmas or for Easter, which is coming up, and all the Norwegians fled to the snow in the mountains. It's just a really wonderful way to practice your Norwegian, learn some words, know what Norwegians eat, some things that I never learned when I was a student at a Norwegian university, because I hung out with people from all over the world, which was super cool and a lot of fun, but not very Norwegian. We also, for our Americans, or for any international student who wants to pursue an English or an American style bachelor, this is a wonderful way to get credits in the American university system that can transfer to universities all over the world. Of course, most of our students do choose to go to the US, but there are American style universities other places around the world as well. The American University in Paris is a popular choice. There's an American College in Dublin where Tammy will be taking students in this coming week. So there's lots of opportunities, but most of our students are international, as well as our Norwegian, want to go back to the US to complete. We have a strong tie with American universities. We have 8 partner schools. And most of our American students are coming from them, but they don't have to come from them. We have students from all over the United States, but we do have a really good culture here on campus to mix the Norwegian exposure as well as creating a little bit of an American culture on campus as well. And so we love our American students that come. They help to integrate our international students into the Norwegian system, or into the American culture, and then our Norwegian students do a great job of showing Norway off to our international students.
And I'm sure our Instagram followers, which I see a lot of them waving at us and sending in comments, it's nice to see all of you, but I'm sure most of you would agree, if you studied here, or even if you didn't and you're wanting to study here, you probably would see on our Instagram that our student body is quite small. It's international and diverse, but it's small. We have maximum 70 students with us per academic year, and the reason we do that is because we want to make sure that for the American international students, it's not overwhelming and they really get to meet authentic Norwegians. But we also want the Norwegian students to really get the guidance and advising and all the tools necessary before going to the US. So that's where people like Becky and Tammy and all the rest of the staff come into. So we definitely try to make the most out of what we have. That's why on Instagram you'll see super fun events, because we know it's really important for student involvement to be a thing on campus, and we want our students to learn from each other. We're a living, learning campus where we really just learn from each other every single day. So that's one of the reasons why we're super small. And now I'm going to hand this over to Tammy. Some of you sent in questions about travel courses, and I assume that you probably have seen that we do have travel courses for college credit usually every semester at the American College of Norway, and Tammy has led some of those travel courses. She's also joined some of the travel courses. So,
Sure. So I think another benefit to both Norwegian and international students is that in this kind of a setting where you get to know each other well and you have all this kind of support and fun activities, you get to be super good friends. And one of the ways that happens is by traveling together, whether you're doing it independently and for fun, or whether you're doing it for credit. So American College offers every semester a travel course to different places. We've gone to Svalbard in the north, we've gone to London, we're going to Ireland this week. So we take a group of students who are interested and we learn some things about the country, and we all go there together. And we take a look at, for instance, the arts in London. We go to theater, we go to museums, we go to Shakespeare's Globe and get a private tour. We're going to Ireland and we're looking at the Viking relationship from Norway to Ireland. So we're going to a Viking museum. We are going to go to the Natural History Museum. We're taking a tour out through the countryside of Ireland to see some of the ruins in that area. And we're going to do that together, and on that travel course we're going to make friends with each other and get to know each other well, and then in addition you earn a course credit. For Americans, you'll understand we earn an upper division credit. American universities require a certain number of lower division credits and a certain number of upper division credits, and this is an upper division credit you can take with you to any American university simply by going on a travel course and writing a paper about your experiences. So it's a lot of fun, and the students who have gone on these trips have really tended to become very close to each other and continue to travel together and even end up maybe studying together at universities in the US or other places. So
I think one thing to add, as we were kind of practicing some of these topics, a question Becky had was, for the travel courses, how can it be specialized for Norwegians? Because Norwegians, you travel a lot, right? You have Europe in your back pocket. For Americans, oh my goodness, traveling is not as frequent because it's so far away. But in Europe, you can just go 1 hour on a plane and you're in another country. And I'm sure tons of you Norwegians have been to England, have been to Ireland, have been to Netherlands. But how is it different going on a travel course to these places rather than going with your friends or family?
And I think one of the answers to that is that we take a look at the places we're going through a new lens. We have an academic focus. So for instance, when we went to London, we were studying the arts. We went to several musicals. We had great seats to go to those. We had private tours of places like Shakespeare's Globe. We're going to Ireland and we're getting private tours of the Book of Kells, a walking tour of Dublin. So we're looking at it through a different lens. We're being tourists. We're also being a little bit of academics, studying the area, thinking about relationships. And most of the courses that we offer for travel here at American College of Norway make use of the very special place that Norway plays in their role with these other countries or these other places. So we're thinking, for instance, about how did the Vikings impact Ireland? You can go to Ireland and Dublin and have a great time. You might not necessarily think about the Vikings while you're there.
I never would have until I learned about this through Dr. Carmichael.
Right. So actually, if you're Irish, you may very well be Norwegian because the Vikings ruled Ireland for 200 years. So you get to find out really interesting things like that and get a new perspective and maybe get some opportunities to do things that normal tourists don't get to do. So it's special.
And a lot of employers are looking for potential employees who have multiple experiences abroad.
Right.
And this is, even though it's maybe a short period of time, maybe a week in a different country, exploring a city with an academic lens, that's something that employers might be very interested in hearing about. So there's a lot of benefits. It's not just building up and getting the course credit. That's a wonderful, wonderful advantage, but it's providing you with interesting life experiences that you will be able to utilize in the future and might make you just a little bit more unique than the other competitors for a job. And we hear that talked about more and more with employers.
An example of that is we had a student here, and one of the experiences we had, he was able to utilize that in his law studies. He's now writing a thesis to finish his law degree, which will probably be published by the Law Review, and it focuses specifically on some comparisons between what he learned in his travel opportunities and what happens in the United States. So it's made him special, and it's given him a leg up in law school.
I think definitely all the students that come back from these experiences have an enriched time abroad. There was a student last year that went on the London trip, and he's been to London like 4 times, and he's watching this Instagram live. So, hello. But he wrote a blog article for us. Well, he actually wrote a paper for Tammy, and Tammy said, Nick, this paper is fantastic. You should ask him if you can publish it on our website. So I did, and when I read it, it was really just the whole essence of what we're talking about, how he had been to London several times for concerts with his sister and various things, but he never fathomed really learning so much about the history and going to Shakespeare's Globe. For a lot of Norwegians, Shakespeare doesn't really have a relationship with them, so they were just in awe being in Shakespeare's Globe and learning about Shakespeare. So I guess we really would just encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities, because there's such a fantastic way to really explore the world, get to know your instructors, get to know your fellow classmates, and have awesome Instagram pictures too. Just saying.
I would say for the Americans, another thing about being at American College of Norway that's special in terms of study abroad, because you have lots of study abroad options, and I know you're thinking about 1 million of them. And those are fantastic. I mean, go somewhere, study abroad. But if you come to American College, you have the opportunity to do some of those value-added things that you're already thinking about in college. You can do internships here. You can have leadership opportunities. There are various committees that do all kinds of activities here. You can be on those committees. You can chair those committees. You can get involved that way. You can do another travel course. So there are lots of options here that you may not necessarily have in more traditional study abroad venues. And so you get to not lose out on those, so to speak, while you're doing your study abroad. You can do all of that and study abroad. And then you have an experience with leadership roles internationally. So that's a nice piece too.
Key.
Yeah.
And you can turn that around for the Norwegians as well, because in Norway we're not necessarily encouraged to do a lot of volunteer work, a lot of nonprofit engagement, not a lot of leadership opportunities, and that's something that American universities are looking for. So all of these things that Tammy mentioned for Americans taking an opportunity to do these things abroad, that's also something for our Norwegians. You can start building your resume. You can start building up some leadership experience, because that might just get you into your dream school after ACN. So there's so many opportunities to take advantage of here, and when you're in such a small situation, it's easier for you to say yes and to get involved.
I see 2 questions.
Okay.
Thanks for sending them in, because I forgot to mention to send your questions in. Let's talk about these 2 questions, and then we'll move to the next topic, which someone sent in, which is scholarships, money. How do you get more money to go to the U.S.? But one of the questions was, do international students start their first year at ACN? And the answer is yes.
Or no!
Or no, yes. Yes or no, it's a mixture, because ACN is essentially the first year of a U.S. bachelor's degree for Norwegians.
I would say ACN is 1 year of a bachelor's degree, not necessarily your first year. So if you're enrolled in a college or a university anywhere in the world, and you want to see if maybe you could do part of your education at ACN, apply. Let's talk about it. A lot of our American students are already underway with their bachelor programs. They might come to us within their maybe first or second year, but we've also had graduating seniors. So you don't have to be starting your degree. Depending on the coursework that we offer, we are also flexible. If you're interested in coming to the American College of Norway, regardless of where you are in your education, call us. Send us an email, put in an application, and we'll figure it out if ACN is the right place for you. So that's why I would say it's not necessarily has to be your first year. It could be 1 year of your degree, regardless of where you're at. It can certainly be your first year if you haven't started yet, but that doesn't need to exclude anyone who's already underway with their education.
And that's why earlier I said too, we're small but so diverse. Because we have students that are Americans that start their first year here. We have Americans that come from UND, Westchester, Adelphi, non-partner schools that are sophomores, juniors, seniors. We have students that come from South Korea that have no connection to this. So we have students from all over the board. So yes, utilize our website. We just actually revamped the whole English page, so there's tons of information. And like Becky said, on our Instagram in the bio, we have the website and everything in there. Just click it. And then you can have tons of access. And then the other question was, where are the students traveling to in the fall? And we have done a travel course the past 3 years in the fall to
A very
Svalbard.
popular travel course.
Svalbard, which is Norway's northernmost territory, and I think in the past 3 years there's been over 20 students that went on this trip, so it's a very popular travel course.
Svalbard is the northernmost permanent settlement in the world, and it's where the International Seed Bank is, and very few people travel there. So if you get an opportunity to go there, you're one of maybe only a few thousand people in the world who travel to Svalbard.
And that class is linked up to an class that deals on the Arctic, and it's been fascinating for the students that go on this trip that take the class as well too, because they really don't think too much about the Arctic. Then they take that class, and the instructor they fall in love with, and they have a fantastic time, and they come back and they really say, this was a life-changing experience.
And that's for our Norwegians and our internationals, because it's an exotic place for our Norwegians to go as well. So if you're Norwegian and you're watching and you haven't been to Svalbard, but you've always wanted to, this could be a really great way to go to Svalbard.
See the northern lights, maybe a polar bear.
Maybe a polar bear.
They saw the northern lights this past fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're going to Svalbard in the fall. And then the next topic, scholarships. So how can ACN students that start their year at ACN, Norwegian students, going to the United States, how can they get more money?
Well, the thing with the U.S. and students, if there's any former students watching, they'll know this about me. I say 2 words a lot. And those 2 words are, it depends. The U.S. is big, it's complicated. Like I mentioned earlier, there's close to 5,000 different universities and colleges, and so each of those institutions are going to have different types of scholarship programs. Some will offer large scholarships, some will offer no scholarships, and it can be really hard for you to find out on your own, and that's where we come in again. We have a pretty good idea of what kind of schools give what kind of scholarships. We have thousands of past students that have done this before you, who have gone to universities in all 50 states. If I can't find the answer regarding a particular school you're interested in, what kind of scholarships they offer, we also have a really great network of individuals that work with student mobility between Norway and the United States. So we have a lot of good friends with a lot of good information that we can contact, both at the U.S. Embassy, ANSA, which is a great organization for Norwegians studying abroad, and other organizations in Norway. So the thing to know about scholarships is that there are a lot of scholarship opportunities available. How you go about applying, how much money you can expect, that goes back to those 2 words that I say all the time, and that depends. It depends on the schools that you end up choosing. So how much money you could get in addition to the support that you get from Lånekassen for Norwegian, it will absolutely be part of our conversations that we have when we talk about what are the right schools for you. How much are you willing to pay? That's something you can talk with your parents about already now, or with your family, with your friends, and also get used to using Lånekassen's website. Know how much you can get support from Lånekassen, because that will help you better understand how much can I afford. What kind of tuition can I look at American universities? Because you'll have everything from a couple $1,000s in tuition to almost $100,000 in tuition, and everything in between. There is the right school out there for each of you with regards to money and how much you're able to pay, how much you're willing to pay. It just takes a little bit of time to find it. So I'm sorry that there's not a really good answer with regards to scholarships. But it is complicated, it depends, but I promise if you put in the work and you let us help you as much as you need it, you'll be able to find schools in the United States that are in a location in an area that you think is super cool, that you're excited about, that offers a super academic program for you and also is going to cost what you're willing to pay. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of work. So that's kind of a weird answer for scholarships. They are out there. Sometimes you have to work a little bit to find them, but that's where we come in, and that's why you should start here, so we can help you navigate that whole process together.
And I think something that Becky's brought up about all of that, maybe not just about scholarships, but the other part of making really good friends here and forming connections with fellow students, but also with your faculty. You're in small classes. You get to know faculty well, they get to know you, you get to know the staff well. You make connections. You create a network. And as you go into the United States or other places to study abroad, England, wherever, a lot of times these people are nearby or even with you at those same institutions, and you have this network of people you can draw on. We just had a big anniversary celebration here for ACN this past summer, and we had students come from all the way back, and they came in groups because they are still friends. And they help each other, with personal issues, but also, business ideas, giving information to each other, just support. So that's another really great benefit to being here and finding out about scholarships from each other.
Oh, we have that all the time where someone will apply to a university that maybe we haven't had anyone apply to in a while, and they'll get a great scholarship, and then all of a sudden several other students will maybe find that particular institution more interesting, and they'll also send in an application and maybe be granted the same scholarship. So you learn a lot from us that work here, faculty and staff, but also the experiences of your fellow students. So that network that you can build here is super important, and you'll also be happy for it when you are finished with your bachelor's degree, if you are Norwegian, and go to the US and have an amazing time. But we see that our ACNers, like Tammy said, they stick together, and that when you've studied abroad, you want to talk about it. You want to tell everyone about it. But very few people, if they haven't experienced themselves, are that interested in listening. So it's really nice to have other people who have done it too, maybe did it with you, that you can 20 years later talk about that time that your fellow classmate did that and reminisce. And that's important, because I know that I missed that when I was a student and didn't have anyone to talk to about my study abroad experience. So that network here at ACN is worth a lot.
And there's just one last topic that we have on the agenda today, and it kind of is related to cost as well and scholarships. But an American sent this in and asked about the cost of living and what to expect for expenses when coming abroad, because I'm probably sure they've heard that Norway is expensive. And like Becky says, it depends.
I just want to say, I was just in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is just as expensive. Just saying.
But it definitely depends. One benefit, I think, of ACN that they keep talking about and we keep bringing up is we are a small, tight-knit group. And when you, Americans and international students, get off the plane, we will have someone to pick you up more than likely at the bus stop here in Moss. The directions you get to get from the airport all the way to here are super easy. We help you with a lot. In addition, I will take you to the grocery store and help you figure out what is the cheapest brand, give you some pro tips about living here in Norway at an inexpensive cost. Because you more than likely have a roommate, well, you will have a roommate, but you might even have a Norwegian roommate, which is another awesome benefit, because that Norwegian roommate can give you some of these tips as well too. And you're gonna be cooking food together. That's an easy way to save money. You have, your apartment has a kitchen in it, so you can have tons of meals together with your classmates. You don't have to go out all the time to eat. If you wanna go out, just budget for it, because it can be expensive, but if you go out once in a while to treat yourself, you can totally do it. And then travel. Travel within Europe, that's one of the benefits of studying in Europe, is it's so cheap. So cheap. There's all these budget airlines, which I'm sure you probably heard about: Ryanair, EasyJet, Wizz Air, all these budget airlines. And luckily there's 2 airports right near Moss that students have easy access to get to, and you can easily get from Moss to the airport and then be in Dublin in an hour and a half, 2 hours, be in Amsterdam, be in Istanbul, wherever you would like to be in Europe. And if you book far enough advance, which I always recommend to the students, if they're interested in traveling, come and chat with me. I will show you these websites. I will show you how to book it. There's websites in Norwegian for students that are under 26. Europe loves student discounts. So we will definitely work with you to really make it fit. And I don't really think a lot of other programs have that specialty of having someone really wanting to help them travel for an inexpensive amount. I think that's something we specialize in.
And ACN has 3-day weekends.
Yes.
We encourage travel. So classes run 4 days a week, and there's 3-day weekends for travel. We want Norwegians to go places. We want Americans to go places. We want international students to experience Norway and other places. So.
And I guess just bouncing off the 3-day weekend, and then we'll wrap it up and say thank you for watching. But always I hear from the Americans, Norwegians have so many public holidays. We have tons. We have a whole week off for Easter starting Monday, and they're going to Ireland
We have 11
tomorrow.
days off for Easter.
The longest Easter break in the world. I just checked it the other day.
It's awesome.
So there's so many opportunities to travel that aren't going to cut into your class time, which is really unique and special.
And the final thing I would say about cost, studying abroad at your age, though it may seem financially like, it will never be cheaper. As you get older and you have obligations and family and all different, it gets more and more difficult and expensive. Now's the time.
Now's the time.
Yeah.
And for the Norwegians too, the exact same advice, because you will never regret probably your decision to study abroad.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say, gee, I wish I hadn't gone.
Right?
No, everybody's so glad to go.
But then I guess one last important thing I'd like to say before we wrap this up, because we covered our topics, and thank you for sending in the questions, but we have some important deadlines coming up, and that's one of the reasons we did this as well too. We have our summer school program that is starting in May, and we still are accepting applications.
I'm teaching.
Tammy is teaching one of the courses. There's another course we have. I'm sure you've seen tons of things on Instagram promoting it. But you can apply up until May 1st to guarantee your spot, as long as you meet the qualifications. So that opportunity is still available. Also for Norwegian students, if you're coming home this summer and you want extra credits at an affordable price, definitely check it out. And then May 1st is also our priority application deadline for Norwegian, American, international students that are planning to study at ACN this fall. So it's super easy to apply. In our Instagram bio, you can click the application link, fill it out, and then you just have to send in the documents that the thing lists after you submit the application. The priority deadline is important because it pretty much says you are a priority, and you will have acceptance into the program, right? So after that, we'll have rolling admission. But for priority admission, definitely apply before May 1st.
And it's
apply
not
before
hard
Easter.
to apply. You just need to fill out the online application, which is just information. And once you've submitted that, you'll get an automatic email telling you what supporting documents you need. If you have any questions about any of the supporting documents, you just write to us. And that's also for any of the topics that we've covered today. I feel like some of you might have some questions that might be specifically related to you and your situation. Now you've seen our faces, you've heard our voices, some of you probably already have met us various times, but just write to us, call us, let us find out if ACN is the right fit for you. I know we're all willing and able to take those phone calls and those emails.
And DMs even. That's how.
And DMs, he's cool. I don't do DMs, I don't even know what that means.
But if you guys ever do send a DM, I run across the school and I'm like, hey, someone wants to know this. Because if we don't have the answer right away, we try to get it to you. We really are all about you. And to end that, I would like to say thank you. And thank you to the panel as well for joining.
Bet.
And
Thanks, everyone.
thank you very
Easter.
much.
Hope to see you soon.